The book of Joshua, chapter 1. Now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord spoke to Joshua the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, My servant Moses is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, you and all this people, unto the land which I give to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, I have given that to you, as I said to Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even to the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your border. No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not fail you nor forsake you. Be strong and of good courage, for you shall divide the land for an inheritance to this people, the land which I swore unto their fathers to give it to them. Only be strong and very courageous, so that you may be careful to do according to all the law which my servant Moses commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, so that you may be blessed wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart out of your hand, but ye shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it. For then ye shall make your way blessed, and then ye shall have good success. Have not I commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, neither be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you, wherever you go. Then Joshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, Pass through the host and command the people, saying, Prepare food for yourselves, for within 3 days ye shall go over this Jordan, to go in to possess the land which the Lord your God is giving you to possess it. And Joshua spoke to the Reubenites and the Gadites and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, saying, Remember the word which Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, saying, The Lord your God has given you rest, and has given you this land. Your wives, your little ones, and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on this side of Jordan. But ye shall go armed before your brothers, all the mighty men of valor, and help them, until the Lord has given your brothers rest, even as you, and they also have possessed the land which the Lord your God gives them. And then ye shall return to the land of your possession, and enjoy it, which Moses, the Lord's servant, gave to you on this side of Jordan, toward the sunrise. And they answered Joshua, saying, We will do all that you command us, and wherever you send us we will go. Just as we listened to Moses in all things, so we will listen to you. Only may the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. Whoever rebels against your commandment, and will not listen to your words in all that you command him, he shall be put to death. Only be strong and of good courage. We're reading from the book of Joshua. We begin reading now chapter 2. And Joshua the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, Go over the land, even Jericho. And they went and came to the house of a harlot named Rahab. And they stayed there, and the king of Jericho was told about it, saying, Behold, men from the children of Israel came in here tonight to search out the country. And the king of Jericho sent to Rahab, saying, Bring out the men that have come to you, those who have entered into your house, for they have come to search out all the country. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them. And she said, 2 men came to me, but I did not know where they came from. And when it was dark at the time of the shutting of the gate, the men went out. Where the men went I do not know. Go after them quickly, for you shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and had hidden them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men went after them on the way to Jordan unto the fords, and as soon as they who went after them had gone out, they shut the gate. And before they had laid down, she came up to them upon the roof, and she said to the men, I know that the Lord has given you the land, and that your terror has fallen upon us, and that all those who live in the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the waters of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. And as soon as we had heard, our hearts melted, nor did any courage remain in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above, and in earth beneath. Now therefore I pray you swear to me by the Lord, since I have shown you kindness, that you will also show kindness unto my father's house. And give me a true token, and say that you will save my father and my mother alive, and save my brothers and my sisters and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answered her, Our life shall be for yours, if you do not tell our business. And when the Lord has given us the land, we will deal kindly and truly with you. Then she let them go down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she lived upon the wall. And she said to them, Get up into the mountain, lest those who went after you meet you, and hide yourself there 3 days, until they have returned, and afterward you may go your way. And the men said to her, We desire to be blameless of this oath to you, which you have made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, ye shall set this line of scarlet thread in the window from which you let us down. And ye shall bring your father and your mother and your brothers and all your father's household home to you. And whoever shall go out of the doors of your house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will be blameless. And whosoever shall be with you in the house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand is upon him. And if you tell our business, then we will be free of the oath which you have made us swear to you. And she said, Let it be according to your word. And she sent them away, and they departed. And she set the scarlet line in the window, and they went and came to the mountain and stayed there 3 days, until those who went after them had returned. And those who went after them looked for them throughout all the way, but did not find them. And so the 2 men returned. And they went down from the mountain and passed over and came to Joshua the son of Nun, and they told him all the things that had happened to them. And they said to Joshua, Truly the Lord has delivered all the land into our hands, for even all those who live in the country faint because of us. The book of Joshua, chapter 3. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and they moved from Shittim, and came to Jordan, he and all the children of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over. And after 3 days the officers went through the host, and they commanded the people, saying, When you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the priests, the Levites, bearing it, then ye shall move from your place and go after it. Yet there shall be a space about 2,000 cubits by measure between you and it. Do not come near it, so that you may know the way by which you must go, for you have not passed this way before now. And Joshua said to the people, Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. And Joshua spoke to the priests, saying, Take up the ark of the covenant, and pass over before the people. And they took up the ark of the covenant, and went before the people. And the Lord said to Joshua, Today I will begin to magnify you in the sight of all Israel, so that they may know that I will be with you, as I was with Moses. And ye shall command the priests that carry the ark of the covenant, saying, When ye have come to the brink of the water of Jordan, ye shall stand still in Jordan. And Joshua said to the children of Israel, Come here and hear the words of the Lord your God. And Joshua said, By this ye shall know that the living God is among you, and that he without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Hivites, and the Perizzites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Jebusites. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth passes over before you into Jordan. Now therefore take 12 men out of the tribes of Israel, a man out of every tribe. And as soon as the soles of the feet of the priest that carry the ark of the Lord of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of Jordan, the waters of Jordan shall be cut off from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand all in a heap. And when the people moved from their tents to pass over Jordan, and the priests carrying the ark of the covenant before the people, and as those who carried the ark had come to Jordan, and the feet of the priests that carried the ark were dipped in the edge of the water, for Jordan overflows all its banks all the time of harvest, it came to pass that the waters which came down from above stopped, and rose up all in a heap, very far from the city Adam, that is beside Zaratan. And those that came down toward the sea of the plain, the salt sea, failed and were cut off. And the people passed over right across from Jericho. And the priest who carried the ark of the covenant and the Lord stood firm on the ground in the middle of the Jordan. And all the Israelites passed over on dry ground until all the people had passed completely over Jordan. Joshua chapter 4. When all the people had completely passed over Jordan, the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, Take now 12 men out of the people, a man out of every tribe, and command them, saying, Take 12 stones from here out of the middle of Jordan, out of the place where the priest's feet stood firm, and you shall carry them over with you, and leave them in a place where you shall stay tonight. Then Joshua called the 12 men whom he had prepared from the children of Israel, a man out of every tribe. And Joshua said to them, Pass over in front of the ark of the Lord your God into the middle of Jordan, and every man take a stone upon his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, so that this may be a sign to you when your children ask in time to come, saying, What do you mean by these stones? Then ye shall answer them, The waters of Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it passed over Jordan, the waters of Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall be for a memorial unto the children of Israel forever. And the children of Israel did as Joshua commanded, and they took up 12 stones out of the middle of Jordan, as the Lord spoke to Joshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, and carried them over with them to the place where they stayed, and they laid them down there. And Joshua set up 12 stones in the middle of Jordan, in the place where the feet of the priest who carried the ark of the covenant stood, and they are there unto this day. For the priest who carried the ark stood in the middle of Jordan until everything was finished, all that the Lord commanded Joshua to speak unto the people, according to all that Moses commanded Joshua. And the people hurried and passed over. And when all the people had completely passed over, the ark of the Lord passed over, and the priests also, in the presence of the people. And the children of Reuben, and the children of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh passed over armed in front of the children of Israel, as Moses spoke unto them. About 40,000 prepared for war passed over before the Lord to battle, to the plains of Jericho. And on that day the Lord made Joshua great in the sight of all of Israel, and they feared him even as they feared Moses all the days of his life. And the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, Command the priests who carried the ark of the testimony that they come up out of Jordan. And Joshua therefore commanded the priests, saying, Come up out of Jordan. And when the priest who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord had come up out of the midst of Jordan, and the soles of the feet of the priest had been lifted up to the dry land, the waters of Jordan returned to their place, and flowed over all its banks as before. And the people came up out of Jordan on the 10th of the first month, and they camped in Gilgal, in the east border of Jericho. And those 12 stones which they took out of Jordan Joshua pitched in Gilgal. And he spoke to the children of Israel, saying, When your children shall ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What do these stones mean? Then ye shall let your children know, saying, Israel came over this Jordan on dry land. For the Lord your God dried up the waters of Jordan from before you, until ye had passed over, even as the Lord your God did to the Red Sea, which he dried up from us until we had gone over, so that all the people of the earth might know that the hand of the Lord, that it is mighty, so that you might fear the Lord your God forever. Joshua chapter 5. And when all the kings of the Amorites who were on the west side of Jordan, and all the kings of the Canaanites who were by the sea heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of Jordan in front of the children of Israel until we had passed over, that their hearts melted, neither was there spirit in them any more because of the children of Israel. At that time the Lord said to Joshua, Make sharp knives for yourselves, and circumcise the children of Israel again the second time. And Joshua made sharp knives and circumcised the children of Israel at the hill of the foreskin. And this is the reason why Joshua circumcised all the people that came out of Egypt who were males. All the men of war died in the wilderness by the wayside after they came out of Egypt. Now all the people who came out were circumcised, but all the people who were born in the wilderness by the wayside as they came forth out of Egypt had not been circumcised. For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, until all the people who were men of war who came out of Egypt were destroyed, because they did not obey the voice of the Lord. Unto them the Lord swore that he would not show them the land which the Lord swore unto their fathers, that he would give us, a land that flows with milk and honey. And so Joshua circumcised their children, whom he raised up in their place. For they were not circumcised because they had not circumcised them by the wayside. And when they had finished circumcising all the people, it came to pass that they stayed in their places in the camp until they were well. And the Lord said to Joshua, Today I have rolled away the reproach of Egypt from you. Therefore the name of the place is called Gilgal unto this day. And the children of Israel camped in Gilgal, and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month at evening in the plains of Jericho. And they ate of the old grain of the land on the next day after the Passover, unleavened cakes and parched kernels in the same day. And the manna stopped on the next day after that they had eaten the old grain of the land. Neither did the children of Israel have any more manna, but they ate the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. When Joshua was beside Jericho, he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him, with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went to him and said unto him, Art thou for us, or for our foes? And he said, No, but I have come as the captain of the army of the Lord. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth, and he worshipped and said to him, What does my Lord say unto his servant? And the captain of the Lord's army said to Joshua, Take your shoe off your foot, for the place on which you stand is holy. And Joshua did so. Chapter 6. The book of Joshua, chapter 6. Now Jericho was completely shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out, and none came in. And the Lord said to Joshua, See, I have given Jericho into your hand, and the king of it, and the mighty men of war. And ye shall go around the city, all the men of war. Go around the city once. So ye shall do for 6 days. And 7 priests shall carry 7 trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. And the 7th day ye shall go around the city 7 times. And the priests shall blow with the trumpets. And when they make a long blast with the ram's horns, and when you have heard the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall go up, each man straight before him. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests, and said to them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests carry 7 trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark of the Lord. And he said to the people, Pass on, and go around the city, and let him who is armed pass on in front of the ark of the Lord. And when Joshua had spoken unto the people, the 7 priests carrying the 7 trumpets of ram's horns passed on before the Lord, and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And the armed men went before the priest who blew with the trumpets, and the gathering army came after the ark, as the priests were going on, and the blowing with the trumpets. And Joshua had commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not shout, nor make any noise with your voice, neither shall any word come out of your mouth, until the day I tell you to shout. then ye shall shout. And so the ark of the Lord went around the city, going around it once. And they came into the camp and stayed in the camp. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord, and the 7 priests carrying 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord went on without stopping, and blew with the trumpets. And the armed men went in front of them, but the gathering army came after the ark of the Lord, as the priests were going on and blowing with the trumpets. And the second day they went around the city once and returned to the camp. So they did 6 days. And on the 7th day they rose early, about the dawning of the day, and went around the city in the same way 7 times. Only on that day did they go around the city 7 times. And at the 7th time, when the priest blew with the trumpets, Joshua said to the people, Shout, for the Lord has given you the city. And the city shall be devoted to the Lord, it and all that are in it. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And you in every way shall keep yourselves from the cursed thing, lest you make yourselves cursed when you take of the cursed thing, and make the camp of Israel a curse, and trouble it. But all the silver and the gold and the vessels of brass and iron are devoted to the Lord. They shall come into the treasury of the Lord. And so the people shouted when the priests blew with the trumpets. And when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, each man straight before him. And they took the city, and they completely destroyed all that was in the city, both man and women, and young and old, ox and sheep and ass, with the edge of the sword. But Joshua had said unto the 2 men who had spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house, and bring the woman out from there, and all that she has, as you swore to her. And the young men who were spies went in, and brought Rahab out, and her father, and her mother, and her brothers, and all that she had. And they brought out all her kindred, and left them outside the camp of Israel. And they burned the city with fire, and all that was in it. Only the silver and the gold and the vessels of brass and iron they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord. And Joshua saved Rahab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had. And she lives in Israel to this day, because she hid the messengers whom Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. And Joshua charged them at that time, saying, Cursed before the Lord is the man who rises up and builds this city of Jericho. He shall lay the foundation of it in his firstborn, and in his youngest son he shall set up the gates of it. And so the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame was throughout all the country. We continue reading today in the book of Joshua, the 7th chapter. We invite you to read along with us. Joshua chapter 7. But the children of Israel committed a sin in the cursed thing. For Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah of the tribe of Judah, took of the thing which was cursed. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel, and Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Bethaven, on the east side of Bethel. And he spoke to them, saying, Go up and look over the country. And the men went up and looked at Ai, and they returned to Joshua and said to him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and strike Ai. Do not make all the people labor there, for they are few. And so about 3,000 men of the people went up there, and they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai struck about 36 men of them, for they chased them from before the gate unto Shebarim, and struck them in the road going down. And therefore the hearts of the people melted, and became as water. And Joshua tore his clothes and fell to the earth upon his face before the ark of the Lord, even until eventide, he and the elders of Israel, and put dust upon their heads. And Joshua said, Alas, O Lord God, why hast thou at all brought this people over Jordan to deliver us into the hands of the Amorites, to destroy us? Would to God we had been content and lived on the other side of Jordan. O Lord, what shall I say when Israel turns their backs before their enemies? For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land shall hear, and shall surround us, and shall cut off our name from the earth. And what wilt thou do unto thy great name? And the Lord said to Joshua, Get up. Why do you lie down upon your face this way? Israel has sinned, and they have broken my covenant which I commanded them. For they have taken of the accursed thing, and also have stolen it, and pretended falsely, and they have even put it among their own stuff. Therefore the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies, turning their backs before their enemies, because they were cursed. Neither will I be with you any more, unless you destroy the one who is cursed from among you. Up and sanctify the people, and say, Sanctify yourselves for tomorrow. For thus saith the Lord God of Israel, A cursed thing is in the midst of you, O Israel. You cannot stand before your enemies until you take away the cursed thing from among you. Therefore in the morning ye shall be brought according to your tribes. And the tribe which the Lord takes shall come according to the families of it. And the family which the Lord shall take shall come by households. And the household which the Lord shall take shall come man by man. And he who is taken with the cursed thing shall be burned with fire, he and all that he has, because he has broken the covenant of the Lord, and because he has done wickedness in Israel. And so Joshua rose up early in the morning and brought Israel by their tribes. And the tribe of Judah was taken, and he brought the families of Judah, and he took the family of the Zarhites, and he took the family of the Zarhites man by man, and Zabdi was taken, and he brought his household man by man. And Achan the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, was taken. And Joshua said to Achan, My son, I pray you, give glory to the Lord God of Israel, and make confession unto him, and tell me now what you have done. Do not hide it from me. And Achan answered Joshua and said, Indeed, I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and this is what I have done. When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonian garment, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight, then I coveted them and took them, and behold, they are hidden in the earth, in the middle of my tent, and the silver under it. And so Joshua sent messengers, and they ran into the tent, and behold, it was hidden in his tent, and the silver under it. And they took them out of the middle of the tent, and brought them to Joshua and to all the children of Israel, and they laid them out before the Lord. And Joshua and all of Israel with him took Achan the son of Zerah, and the silver and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons and his daughters, and his oxen and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had, and they brought them into the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, Why have you troubled us? The Lord shall trouble you this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones, and burned them with fire, after they had stoned them with stones. And they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day, so that the Lord turned from the greatness of his anger. Therefore the name of that valley was called the Valley of Achor unto this day. Chapter 8. We're reading from the book of Joshua. This is Family Bible Reading Fellowship, Joshua chapter 8. And the Lord said to Joshua, Do not fear, neither be dismayed. Take all the people of war with you, and arise and go up to Ai. See, I have given into your hand the king of Ai, and his people, and his city, and his land. And ye shall do to Ai and its king as you did unto Jericho and its king. Only the spoil of it, and the cattle of it, ye shall take for a prize for yourselves. Lay an ambush for the city behind it. And so Joshua and all the people of war arose to go up against Ai. And Joshua chose out 30,000 men of war, and sent them away by night. And he commanded them, saying, Behold, ye shall lie in wait opposite the city, behind the city. Do not go very far from the city, but all of you be ready. And I and all the people that are with me shall go toward the city. And when they come out against us, at the first we will flee from them, for they will come out after us, until we have drawn them out of the city. For they will say, They flee before us, even as they did at the first. Therefore we will flee before them. Then you shall rise up from the ambush, and seize upon the city, for the Lord your God will deliver it into your hand. And when you have taken the city, ye shall set the city on fire. According to the commandment of the Lord ye shall do it. See, I have commanded you. And therefore Joshua sent them out, and they went to lie in ambush, and stayed between Bethel and Ai, on the west side of Ai. But Joshua stayed that night among the people. And Joshua rose up early in the morning, and counted the people, and they went up, he and the elders of Israel, to Ai. And all the people of war who were with him went up and drew near, and they came before the city, and pitched on the north side of Ai. Now there was a valley between them and Ai, and he took about 5,000 men, and set them to lie in ambush between Bethel and Ai, on the west side of the city. And when they had set the people, all the army that was on the north of the city, and those who lay in wait on the west of the city, Joshua went that night into the middle of the valley. And when the king of Ai saw it, they hurried and rose up early, and the men of the city went out to do battle against Israel, he and all his people, at the time appointed before the plain. But he did not know that there were some lying in ambush against him behind the city. And Joshua and all Israel acted as if they were beaten before them, and they fled by way of the wilderness. And all the people who were in Ai were called together to run after them, and they ran after Joshua, and were drawn away from the city. And there was not a man left in Ai or Bethel who did not go after Israel. And they left the city open, and they ran after Israel. And the Lord said to Joshua, Stretch out the spear that is in your hand toward Ai, for I will give it into your hand. And Joshua stretched out the spear that he had in his hand toward the city. And the ambush arose quickly out of their place, and ran as soon as he had stretched out his hand. And they entered into the city, and they took it, and hurried and set the city on fire. And when the men of Ai looked behind them, they saw it. And behold, the smoke of the city went up into the sky, and they had no power to flee this way or that. And the people who fled to the wilderness turned back upon those who ran after them. And when Joshua and all of Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city, and that the smoke of the city went up, then they turned again, and they killed the men of Ai. And the others came out of the city against them. So they were in the middle of Israel, some on this side and some on that side. And they struck them so that they let none of them remain or escape. And they took the king of Ai, and brought him to Joshua. And when Israel had made an end of killing all those who lived in Ai, in the field and in the wilderness where they chased them, and when they had fallen on the edge of the sword until they were gone, all the Israelites returned to Ai, and struck it with the edge of the sword. And so all who fell that day, both of men and women, were 12,000, all of the men of Ai. For Joshua did not draw his hand back with which he stretched out the spear, until he had utterly destroyed all the people of Ai. Only Israel took the cattle and the spoil of the city for a prize for themselves, according to the word of the Lord which he commanded Joshua. And Joshua burned Ai, and made it a heap forever, a ruin unto this day. And he hanged the king of Ai on a tree until evening. And as soon as the sun was down, Joshua commanded that they should take his body down from the tree, and throw it down at the entrance to the gate of the city, and raise on it a great heap of stones, which remains unto this day. Then Joshua built an altar unto the Lord God of Israel in Mount Ebal, as Moses the servant of the Lord commanded the children of Israel, as it is written in the book of the law of Moses, an altar of whole stones, over which no man has lifted any iron. And they offered on it burnt offerings unto the Lord, and sacrificed peace offerings. And he wrote there upon the stones a copy of the law of Moses, which he wrote in the presence of the children of Israel. And all Israel and their elders and officers and their judges stood on this side of the ark, and on that side before the priests and the Levites who bore the ark of the covenant of the Lord, as well as the stranger that was born among them, half of them over against Mount Gerizim, and half of them over against Mount Ebal, as Moses the servant of the Lord had commanded before, that they should bless all the people of Israel. And afterward he read all the words of the law, the blessings and the cursings, according to all that is written in the book of the law. And there was not a word of all that Moses commanded, which Joshua did not read before all the congregation of Israel, with all the women and the little ones, and the strangers that walked among them. Joshua chapter 9. And when all the kings which were on this side Jordan, in the hills and in the valleys, in all the coasts of the great sea over against Lebanon, the Hittite and the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Perizzite and the Hivite and the Jebusite, when they heard about it, they all with one mind gathered themselves together to fight with Joshua and with Israel. And when those who lived in Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and to Ai, they worked slyly, for they came and acted as if they were ambassadors. And they took old sacks upon their asses, and old and torn and bound up wineskins, and old and patched sandals upon their feet, and old clothes upon them. And all the bread they had taken was dry and mouldy. And they went to Joshua unto the camp at Gilgal, and said to him and to the men of Israel, We have come from a far country. Now therefore make a treaty with us. And the men of Israel said unto the Hivites, Perhaps you are living among us, and how shall we make a treaty with you? And they said to Joshua, We are your servants. And Joshua said to them, Who are you, and where do you come from? And they said to him, Your servants have come from a very far country, because the name of the Lord your God, for we have heard of his fame, and all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites who were beyond Jordan, to Sihon king of Heshbon, and to Og king of Bashan, who was at Ashtaroth. Therefore our elders and all those who live in our country spoke to us, saying, Take provision with you for the journey, and go to meet them, and say to them, We are your servants, therefore now make a treaty with us. And we took this bread hot for our provisions out of our houses on the day we came out to go unto you. But now, see, it is dry and it is mouldy. And these wineskins which were filled were new. See, they are now torn. And these clothes and shoes of ours have become old because of the very long journey. And they received the men because of their provisions, and did not ask at the mouth of the Lord. And Joshua made peace with them, and made a treaty with them to live with them, and let them live. And the princes of the congregations swore unto them. And at the end of 3 days after they had made the treaty with them, they heard that they were their neighbors, and that they lived among them. And the children of Israel journeyed and came to their cities on the 3rd day. Now their cities were Gibeon, and Shephirah, and Beeroth, and Kirjath-jearim. And the children of Israel did not strike them, because the princes of the congregation had sworn to them by the Lord God of Israel. And all the congregation murmured against the princes. But all the princes said unto the congregation, We have sworn unto them by the Lord God of Israel. Now therefore we may not touch them. This we will do to them. We will even let them live, lest wrath be upon us because of the oath we swore unto them. And the princes said unto them, Let them live, but let them be woodcutters and drawers of water unto all the congregation, as the princes had promised them. And Joshua called for them, and he spoke to them, saying, Why have you fooled us, saying, We are very far from you, when you dwell amongst us? Now therefore you are cursed, and there shall none of you be freed from being slaves and woodcutters and drawers of water for the house of my God. And they answered Joshua and said, Because it was certainly told your servants how the Lord your God commanded his servant Moses to give you all the land, and to destroy all those who lived in the land from before you, Therefore we were very much afraid of our lives because of you, and have done this thing. And now, behold, we are in your hand. As it seems good and right unto you to do unto us, do it. And so he did unto them, and delivered them out of the hand of the children of Israel, so that they did not kill them. And Joshua made them that day woodcutters and drawers of water for the congregation, and for the altar of the Lord, even unto this day in the place which he should choose.
Chapter 10. Joshua chapter 10. Now it came to pass, when Adonizedek king of Jerusalem had heard how Joshua had taken Ai, and had utterly destroyed it, as he had done to Jericho and her king, so he had done to Ai and her king, and how the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel, and were among them, that they feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, as one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all the men thereof were mighty. Wherefore Adonizedek king of Jerusalem sent unto Hoham king of Hebron, and unto Piram king of Jarmuth, and unto Jephthah king of Lachish, and unto Debir king of Eglon, saying, Come up unto me, and help me, that we may smite Gibeon, for it hath made peace with Joshua and with the children of Israel. Therefore the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon, gathered themselves together, and went up, they and all their hosts, and encamped before Gibeon, and made war against it. And the men of Gibeon sent unto Joshua to the camp of Gilgal, saying, Slack not thy hand from thy servants, come up to us quickly, and save us, and help us. For all the kings of the Amorites that dwell in the mountains are gathered together against us. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord said unto Joshua, Fear them not, for I have delivered them unto thine hand. There shall not a man of them stand before thee. Joshua therefore came unto them suddenly, and went up from Gilgal all night. And the Lord discomfited them before Israel, and slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and chased them along the way that goeth up to Bethhoron, and smote them to Azekah, and unto Makkedah. And it came to pass, as they fled from before Israel, and were in the going down to Bethhoron, that the Lord cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah, and they died. They were more which died with hailstones than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword. Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel, and he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jeshur? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day. And there was no day like that, before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, unto the camp of Gilgal. But these 5 kings fled, and hid themselves in a cave at Makkedah. And it was told Joshua, saying, The 5 kings are found hid in a cave at Makkedah. And Joshua said, Roll great stones upon the mouth of the cave, and set men by it for to keep them. And stay ye not, but pursue after your enemies, and smite the hindmost of them. Suffer them not to enter into their cities, for the Lord your God hath delivered them unto your hand. And it came to pass, when Joshua and the children of Israel had made an end of slaying them with a very great slaughter, till they were consumed, that the rest which remained of them entered into fenced cities. And all the people returned to the camp of Joshua at Makkedah in peace. None moved his tongue against any of the children of Israel. Then said Joshua, Open the mouth of the cave, and bring out those 5 kings unto me out of the cave. And they did so, and brought forth those 5 kings unto him out of the cave, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. And it came to pass, when they brought out those kings unto Joshua, that Joshua called for the men of Israel, and said unto the captains of the men of war which went with him, Come near, put your feet upon the necks of these kings. And they came near, and put their feet upon the necks of them. And Joshua said unto them, Fear not, nor be dismayed. Be strong and of good courage. For thus shall the Lord do to all your enemies against whom ye fight. And afterward Joshua smote them, and slew them, and hanged them on 5 trees. And they were hanging upon the trees until the evening. And it came to pass at the time of the going down of the sun, that Joshua commanded, and they took them down off the trees, and cast them into the cave wherein they had been hid, and laid great stones in the cave's mouth, which remain until this very day. And that day Joshua took Makkedah, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and the king thereof he utterly destroyed, them and all the souls that were therein. He let none remain. And he did to the king of Makkedah as he did unto the king of Jericho. Then Joshua passed from Makkedah, and all Israel with him, unto Libnah, and fought against Libnah. And the Lord delivered it also, and the king thereof, into the hand of Israel, and he smote it with the edge of the sword. And all the souls that were therein, he let none remain in it, but did unto the king thereof as he did unto the king of Jericho. And Joshua passed from Libnah, and all Israel with him, unto Lachish, and encamped against it, and fought against it. And the Lord delivered Lachish into the hand of Israel, which took it on the 2nd day, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and all the souls that were therein, according to all that he had done to Libnah. Then Hiram, king of Gezor, came up to help Lachish, and Joshua smote him and his people, until he had left him none remaining. And from Lachish Joshua passed unto Eglon, and all Israel with him, and they encamped against it, and fought against it. And they took it on that day, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and all the souls that were therein he utterly destroyed that day, according to all that he had done to Lachish. And Joshua went up from Eglon, and all of Israel with him, unto Hebron, and they fought against it, and they took it, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and the king thereof, and all the cities thereof, and all the souls that were therein. He left none remaining, according to all that he had done to Eglon, but destroyed it utterly, and all the souls that were therein. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, to Debir, and fought against it. And he took it, and the king thereof, and all the cities thereof. And they smote them with the edge of the sword, and utterly destroyed all the souls that were therein. He left none remaining, as he had done to Hebron. So he did to Debir, and to the king thereof, as he had done also to Libnah, and to her king. So Joshua smote all the country of the hills, and of the south, and of the vale, and of the springs, and all their kings. He left none remaining, but utterly destroyed all that breathed, as the Lord God of Israel commanded. And Joshua smote them from Kadesh Barnea even unto Gaza, and all the country of Goshen even unto Gibeon. And all these kings and their land did Joshua take at one time, because the Lord God of Israel fought for Israel. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, unto the camp of Gilgal.
Joshua chapter 11. And when Jabin king of Hazor had heard, he sent to Jobab king of Madon, and to the king of Shimron, and to the king of Achshaph, and to the kings that were on the north of the mountains and of the plain south of Chenneroth in the valley, and in the borders of Dor on the west, and to the Canaanite on the east and on the west, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Jebusite in the mountains, and to the Hivite under Hermon in the land of Mizpah. And they went out, they and all their armies with them, many people, even as the sand that is upon the seashore in multitude, with very many horses and chariots. And when all these kings had met together, they came and pitched together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. And the Lord said to Joshua, Do not be afraid because of them, for tomorrow about this time I will deliver them up, all killed before Israel. You shall hamstring their horses and burn their chariots with fire. And so Joshua came, and all the people of war with him, against them by the waters of Merom suddenly, and they fell upon them, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of Israel, who struck them and chased them unto great Sidon, and to the salt pits, and to the valley of Mizpah, eastward. And they struck them until they left them none remaining. And Joshua did unto them as the Lord commanded him. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots with fire. And Joshua at that time turned back and took Hazor, and struck the king of it with the sword. For Hazor before time was the head of all those kingdoms, and they struck all the souls that were in it with the edge of the sword, completely destroying them. And there was not any left to breathe. And he burned Hazor with fire. And Joshua took all the cities of those kings, and all the kings of them, and he struck them with the edge of the sword. He completely destroyed them, as Moses the servant of the Lord commanded. But Israel did not burn any of them, the cities that stood still in their strength, except Hazor only. Joshua did burn it. And all the spoil of these cities, and the cattle and the children of Israel, took they for a prize to themselves. But they struck every man with the edge of the sword until they had destroyed them. Neither did they leave any to breathe. As the Lord commanded Moses his servant, so did Moses command Joshua, and so Joshua did. He left none undone of all that the Lord commanded Moses. And so Joshua took all that land, the hills and all the south country, and all the land of Goshen, and the valley, and the plain, and the mountain of Israel, and the valley of the same, even from the Mount Halak, that goes to Seir, even unto Baalgad, in the valley of Lebanon, under Mount Hermon. And he took all their kings, and struck them, and killed them. And Joshua made war a long time with all those kings. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel, except the Hittites, the inhabitants of Gibeon. All others they took in battle. For it was of the Lord to harden their hearts, so that they should come against Israel in battle, so that he might destroy them completely, so that they might have no favor, but that he might destroy them, as the Lord commanded Moses so to do. And at that time Joshua came and cut off the Anakims from the mountains, from Hebron, from Debir, from Anab, and from all the mountains of Judah, and from all the mountains of Israel. Joshua completely destroyed them with their cities. There were none of the Anakims left in the land of the children of Israel. Only in Gaza, in Gath, and Ashdod there remained some. And so Joshua took the whole land according to all that the Lord commanded Moses, and Joshua gave it for an inheritance unto Israel, according to their divisions by their tribes. And the land rested from war. We're reading from the book of Joshua. We begin reading now chapter 12. This is Family Bible Reading Fellowship, Joshua chapter 12. Now these are the kings of the land whom the children of Israel struck, and whose land they possessed, on the other side of Jordan, toward the rising of the sun, from the river Arnon to Mount Hermon, and all the plain on the east. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon, and ruled over Aroer, which is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and from the middle of the river, and from half Gilead even to the river Jabbok, which is the border of the children of Ammon. And from the plain to the sea of Chinneroth on the east, to the sea of the plain, the salt sea on the east, the way of Beth-Jesimoth, and from the south under Ashdoth Pisgah. And they struck the coast of Og, king of Bashan, who was of the last of the giants who lived at Ashtaroth and Edrei, and reigned in Mount Hermon, and in Salcah, and in all of Bashan, to the border of the Geshurites, and the Maacathites, and half of Gilead, and the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Moses the servant of the Lord and the children of Israel struck them. And Moses the servant of the Lord gave it for a possession to the Reubenites, and the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. And these are the kings of the country which Joshua and the children of Israel struck on this side of Jordan, on the west from Baal-Gad in the valley of Lebanon, even unto the Mount Halak, that goes up to Seir, which Joshua gave unto the tribes of Israel for a possession according to their divisions, in the mountains and in the valleys and in the plains and in the springs, and in the wilderness and in the south country, the Hittites and Amorites, the Canaanites and the Perizzites, the Hivites and the Jebusites. And the king of Jericho, 1, the king of Ai, which is beside Bethel, 1, the king of Jerusalem, 1, the king of Hebron, 1, the king of Jarmuth, 1, the king of Lachish, 1, the king of Eglon, 1, and the king of Gezer, 1, also the king of Deber, 1, and the king of Geder, 1, the king of Hormah, 1, the king of Arad, 1, and the king of Libnah, 1, also the king of Adullam, 1, and the king of Makkadah, 1, the king of Bethel, 1, the king of Tappuah, the king of Hepher, the king of Aphek, the king of Lasharon, also the king of Madon, the king of Hazor, the king of Shemron Meron, and the king of Akshaph, the king of Ta'anak, the king of Megiddo, and the king of Kedesh, also the king of Jokaneam, of Carmel, and the king of Dor in the coast of Dor, the king of the nations of Gilgal, the king of Tyre. All the kings were 31. Chapter 13, Joshua chapter 13. We're reading from the book of Joshua. This is Family Bible Reading Fellowship. Now Joshua was old and far gone in years. And the Lord said to him, You are old and far gone in years, and there remains yet very much land to be possessed. This is the land that still remains, all the borders of the Philistines, and all Geshuri, from Sihor, which is before Egypt, even unto the borders of Ekron northward, which is counted to the Canaanite, 5 lords of the Philistines, the Gazathites, and the Ashdothites, and the Eshkalonites, the Gittites, and the Ekronites, also the Avites. And from the south all the land of the Canaanites and Merara, that is, beside the Sidonians, unto Aphek, to the borders of the Amorites, and the land of the Giblites and all Lebanon toward the sunrise, from Baalgad under Mount Hermon to the border of Hamath. I will drive out all those who live in the hill country from Lebanon to Mizrephoth-maim, and all the Sidonians from before the children of Israel. Only you divide it by lot to the Israelites for an inheritance, as I have commanded you. Now therefore divide this land for an inheritance unto the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of Manasseh, with whom the Reubenites and the Gadites have received their inheritance, which Moses gave them beyond Jordan eastward, as Moses the servant of the Lord gave them. From Aroer, that is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and the city that is in the midst of the river, and all the plain of Medeba, unto Dibon, and all the city of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, unto the border of the children of Ammon and Gilead, and the borders of the Geshurites, and the Maacathites, and all of Mount Hermon, and all of Bashan, unto Salcah, all the kingdoms of Og in Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth, and Edariah, who remained of the rest of the giants. For these did Moses strike, and cast them out. Nevertheless the children of Israel did not put out the Geshurites, nor the Maacathites, but the Geshurites and the Maacathites dwell amongst the Israelites until this day. Only he gave no inheritance to the tribe of Levi. The sacrifices of the Lord God of Israel made by fire are their inheritance, as he said to them. And Moses gave to the tribe of the children of Reuben inheritance according to their families. And their coast was from Aroer, that is on the bank of the river Arnon, and the city that is in the midst of the river, and all the plain by Medeba. He gave them Heshbon and all its cities that are on the plain Dibon, and Bamoth Baal, and Beth Baal Meon, and Jahaza, and Kedomoth, and Mephathath, and Kejaram, and Sibmah, and Zarashath, in the mountain of the valley, and Beth Peor, and Ashdoth Pisgah, and Beth Jesamoth, and all the cities of the plain, and all the kingdoms of Sihon king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, whom Moses struck with the princes of Midian, Evi, and Rechem, and Zur, and Hur, and Reba, princes of Sihon, living in the country. And the children of Israel also killed Balaam the son of Beor, the soothsayer, with the sword among the ones that were killed by them. And the border of the children of Reuben was Jordan, and the border of it. This was the inheritance of the children of Reuben according to their families, and the cities and the villages of it. And Moses gave inheritance unto the tribe of Gad, to the children of Gad according to their families. And their coast was Jazer, and all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the children of Ammon, unto Aroer, that is before Rabbah, and from Heshbon unto Ramoth Mizpah, and Betonim, and from Mahanaim unto the border of Debir. And in the valley he gave them Beth Aram, and Beth Nimrah, and Succoth, and Zaphon, the rest of the kingdom of Sihon, king of Heshbon, Jordan and its borders, even to the edge of the sea of Chinneroth, on the east side of Jordan eastward. This is the inheritance of the children of Gad, according to their families and cities and their villages. And Moses gave inheritance to the half-tribe of Manasseh, and this was the half-tribe of the children of Manasseh by their families. Their border was from Mahanaim, all Bashan, all the kingdom of Og, the king of Bashan, and all the towns of Jair, which are in Bashan, 60 cities, and half of Gilead, and Ashtaroth, and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan, were given to the children of Machir, the son of Manasseh, even to the half of the children of Machir by their families. And these are the countries which Moses gave out for an inheritance in the plains of Moab, on the other side of Jordan by Jericho eastward. But to the tribe of Levi Moses gave no inheritance, for the Lord God of Israel was their inheritance, as he said unto them.
Chapter 14. We're reading Joshua, chapter 14. And these are the countries which the children of Israel inherited in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel distributed for an inheritance to them. By lot was their inheritance, as the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses, for the 9 tribes and for the half-tribe. For Moses had given the inheritance of 2 tribes and an half-tribe on the other side Jordan. But unto the Levites he gave none inheritance among them. For the children of Joseph were 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. Therefore they gave no part unto the Levites in the land, save cities to dwell in, with their suburbs for their cattle and for their substance. As the Lord commanded Moses, so the children of Israel did, and they divided the land. Then the children of Judah came unto Joshua in Gilgal, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, said unto him, Thou knowest the thing that the Lord said unto Moses, the man of God, concerning me and thee in Kadesh Barnea. 40 years old was I when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to espy out the land, and I brought him word again as it was in mine heart. Nevertheless my brethren that went up with me made the heart of the people melt, but I wholly followed the Lord my God. And Moses sware on that day, saying, Surely the land whereon thy feet have trodden shall be thine inheritance, and thy children's forever, because thou hast wholly followed the Lord my God. And now, behold, the Lord hath kept me alive, as he said these 45 years, even since the Lord spake this word unto Moses, while the children of Israel wandered in the wilderness. And now, lo, I am this day 85 years old. As yet I am as strong this day as I was in the day that Moses sent me. As my strength was then, even so is my strength now, for war both to go out and to come in. Now therefore give me this mountain, whereof the Lord spake in that day. For thou heardest in the day how the Anakims were there, and that the cities were great and fenced. If so be, the Lord will be with me. Then I shall be able to drive them out, as the Lord said. And Joshua blessed him, and gave unto Caleb the son of Jephunneh Hebron for an inheritance. Hebron therefore became the inheritance of Caleb the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite unto this day, because that he wholly followed the Lord God of Israel. And the name of Hebron before was Kirjath-arba, which Arba was a great man among the Anakims, and the land had rest from war. You're listening to the Family Bible Reading Fellowship, and we're beginning Joshua chapter 15. Joshua chapter 15. This then was the lot of the tribe of the children of Judah by their families. Even to the border of Edom, the wilderness of Zin southward, was the uttermost part of the south coast. And their south border was from the shore of the salt sea, from the bay that looketh southward. And it went out to the south side to Male-Akrabim, and passed along to Zin, and ascended up on the south side into Kadesh-barnea, and passed along to Hezron, and went up to Adar, and fetched a compass to Karkah. From thence it passed toward Asmon, and went out unto the river of Egypt, and the goings out of that coast were at the sea. This shall be your south coast. And the east border was the salt sea, even unto the end of Jordan, and their border in the north quarter was from the bay of the sea at the uttermost part of Jordan. And the border went up to Beth-hoglah, and passed along by the north of Beth-arba, and the border went up to the stone of Bohan, the son of Reuben. And the border went up toward Debir from the valley of Achor, and so northward, looking toward Gilgal. That is before the going up to Adumim, which is on the south side of the river. And the border passed toward the waters of En-shemesh, and the goings out thereof were at Enrogel. And the border went up by the valley of the son of Hinnom, unto the south side of the Jebusite, the same as Jerusalem. And the border went up to the top of the mountain that lieth before the valley of Hinnom westward, which is at the end of the valley of the giants northward. And the border was drawn from the top of the hill unto the fountain of the water of Nephtoah, and went out to the cities of Mount Ephron, and the border was drawn to Baalah, which is Kirjath-jearim. And the border compassed from Baalah westward unto Mount Seir, and passed along unto the side of Mount Jarim, which is Chesalon, on the north side, and went down to Beth-shemesh, and passed on to Timnah. And the border went out unto the side of Ekron northward, and the border was drawn to Shikron, and passed along to Mount Baalah, and went out unto Jebneel. And the goings out of the border were at the sea. And the west border was to the great sea, and the coast thereof. This is the coast of the children of Judah, round about according to their families. And unto Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, he gave a part among the children of Judah, according to the commandment of the Lord to Joshua, even this city of Arba, the father of Anak, which city is Hebron. And Caleb drove thence the 3 sons of Anak, Seshai, and Ahiman, and Talmai, the children of Anak. And he went up thence to the inhabitants of Debir, and the name of Debir before was Kirjath-sepher. And Caleb said, He that smitteth Kirjath-sepher, and taketh it, to him will I give Akshah, my daughter, to wife. And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, took it, and he gave him Aksah, his daughter, to wife. And it came to pass, as she came unto him, that she moved him to ask for her father a field, and she lighted off her ass. And Caleb said unto her, What wouldest thou? Who answered, Give me a blessing, for thou hast given me a southland. Give me also springs of water. And he gave her the upper springs and the nether springs. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Judah, according to their families. And the uttermost cities of the tribe of the children of Judah, toward the coast of Edom, southward, were Kabzeel, and Eder, and Jagur, and Kina, and Dimona, and Adadah, and Kadesh, and Hazor, and Ithnan, Ziph, and Telem, and Baalath, and Hazor, Hadatah, and Kerioth, and Hezron, which is Hazor, Amam, and Sherma, and Moladah, and Hazar-Gadah, and Heshmon, and Beth-Pelet, and Hazar-Shual, and Beersheba, and Bejoshah, Bala, and Eim, and Ezem, and El-Tolad, and Shezil, and Honma, and Ziklag, and Madmanha, and Sansamnah, and Lebaoth, and Shilhim, and Ain, and Rimmon. All the cities are 29 with their villages. And in the valley, Eshtoal, and Zoreah, and Ashma, and Zanoah, and En-Gamin, and Tapua, and Enam, Jarmuth, and Adullam, Soko, and Azekah, and Sharaim, and Idithaim, and Gedera, and Giderothaim, 14 cities with their villages, Zenan, and Hadashah, and Migdagad, and Dilion, and Mezpeh, and Joktheel, Lachish, and Bozkath, and Eglon, and Kobon, and Laman, and Keithlish, and Gederoth, Beth-Dagon, and Nemah, and Makkedah, 16 cities with their villages, Libnah, and Ether, and Ashan, and Jephthah, and Ashan, and Nezib, and Keilah, and Aksib, and Marashah, 9 cities with their villages, Ekron with her towns and her villages, from Ekron even unto the sea, all that lay near Ashdod with their villages, Ashdod with her towns and her villages, Gaza with her towns and her villages, unto the river of Egypt, and the great sea, and the border thereof. And in the mountains, Shamir, and Jetir, and Sokah, and Damnah, and Kirjasama, which is Debir, and Anab, and Eshtemoh, and Anim, and Goshen, and Holon, and Gilo, 11 cities with their villages, Arab, and Duma, and Eshion, and Janum, and Beth-Tappuah, and Aphekah, and Humta, and Kirja Arba, which is Hebron, and Zior, 9 cities with their villages, Meon, Carmel, and Ziph, and Jertah, and Jezreel, and Jokadim, and Zamoah, Cain, Gilbeah, and Timnah, 10 cities with their villages, Halhul, Beth-Zur, and Gedor, and Marath, and Bethanoth, and Eltekon, 6 cities with their villages, Kirjath-Baal, which is Kirjath-Jearim, and Rabbath, 2 cities with their villages. In the wilderness, Beth-Arba, Middin, and Sekakah, and Nibshan, and the city of Salt, and En-Gedi, 6 cities with their villages. As for the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the children of Judah could not drive them out, but the Jebusites dwell with the children of Judah at Jerusalem unto this day. This is the Family Bible Reading Fellowship as we begin reading chapter 16 of Joshua, Joshua 16. And the lot of the children of Joseph fell from Jordan by Jericho, unto the water of Jericho on the east, to the wilderness that goeth up from Jericho throughout Mount Bethel, and goeth out from Bethel to Luz, and passeth along unto the borders of Arki and Ataroth, and goeth down westward to the coast of Jephthali, unto the coast of Beth-horon, the nether, and to Gezer, and the goings out thereof are at the sea. So the children of Joseph, Manasseh, and Ephraim took their inheritance, and the border of the children of Ephraim, according to their families, was even the border of their inheritance on the east side, which was Atara Adar, unto Beth-horon the upper. And the border went out toward the sea to Michmathah on the north side, and the border went about eastward unto Tanath Shiloh, and passed by it on the east to Janahah. And it went down from Janahah to Atara, and to Neharah, and came to Jericho, and went out at Jordan. The border went out from Tepuah westward unto the river Kanah, and the goings out thereof were at the sea. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Ephraim by their families. And the separate cities for the children of Ephraim were among the inheritance of the children of Manasseh, all the cities with their villages. And they drove not out the Canaanites that dwelt in Gezer, but the Canaanites dwell among the Ephraimites unto this day, and serve under tribute. On our Family Bible Reading Fellowship, we now read chapter 17 of Joshua, Joshua 17. There was also a lot for the tribe of Manasseh, for he was the firstborn of Joseph, to wit, for Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, the father of Gilead, because he was a man of war, therefore he had Gilead and Bashan. There was also a lot for the rest of the children of Manasseh by their families, for the children of Abiezer, and for the children of Helek, and for the children of Asriel, and for the children of Shechem, and for the children of Hepher, and for the children of Shemiddah. These were the male children of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, by their families. But Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons, but daughters. And these are the names of his daughters: Mahlah, and Noah, and Hoglah, and Milcah, and Tirzah. And they came near before Eleazar the priest, and before Joshua the son of Nun, and before the princes, saying, The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brethren. Therefore, according to the commandment of the Lord, he gave them an inheritance among the brethren of their father. And there fell 10 portions to Manasseh, beside the land of Gilead and Bashan, which were on the other side Jordan, because the daughters of Manasseh had an inheritance among his sons. And the rest of Manasseh's sons had the land of Gilead. And the coast of Manasseh was from Asher to Michmethah, that lieth before Shechem, and the border went along the right hand unto the inhabitants of Tappuah. Now Manasseh had the land of Tappuah, but Tappuah on the border of Manasseh belonged to the children of Ephraim. And the coast descended unto the river Kanah. Southward of the river, these cities of Ephraim are among the cities of Manasseh. The coast of Manasseh also was on the north side of the river, and the outgoings of it were at the sea. Southward it was Ephraim's, and northward it was Manasseh's. And the sea is the border. And they met together in Asher on the north, and in Issachar on the east. And Manasseh had in Issachar and in Asher Bethshean and her towns, and Ibleam and her towns, and the inhabitants of Dor and her towns, and the inhabitants of Endor and her towns, and the inhabitants of Taanach and her towns, and the inhabitants of Megiddo and her towns, even 3 countries. Yet the children of Manasseh could not drive out the inhabitants of those cities, but the Canaanites would dwell in that land. Yet it came to pass, when the children of Israel were waxen strong, that they put the Canaanites to tribute, but did not utterly drive them out. And the children of Joseph spake unto Joshua, saying, Why hast thou given me but 1 lot, and 1 portion to inherit, seeing I am a great people, forasmuch as the Lord hath blessed me hitherto? And Joshua answered them, If thou be a great people, then get thee up to the wood country, and cut down for thyself there in the land of the Perizzites and of the giants, if Mount Ephraim be too narrow for thee. And the children of Joseph said, The hill is not enough for us, and all the Canaanites that dwell in the land of the valley have chariots of iron, both they who are of Bethshean and her towns, and they who are of the valley of Jezreel. And Joshua spake unto the house of Joseph, even to Ephraim and to Manasseh, saying, Thou art a great people, and hast great power. Thou shalt not have 1 lot only, but the mountain shall be thine, for it is a wood, and thou shalt cut it down, and the outgoings of it shall be thine. For thou shalt drive out the Canaanites, though they have iron chariots, and though they be strong.
This is Family Bible Reading Fellowship. We are reading from the book of Joshua. We have been reading the apportioning of the land according to the cities and borders of the land as they were given out to the children and the tribes of Israel after the conquests of Joshua. We turn over now to chapter 18, Joshua chapter 18. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel gathered together at Shiloh, and set up the tabernacle of the congregation there, and the land was subdued before them. And there remained amongst the children of Israel 7 tribes which had not yet received their inheritance. And Joshua said to the children of Israel, How long will ye be weak in going to possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers has given you? Give from among you 3 men for each tribe, and I will send them, and they shall rise and go through the land and map it according to the inheritance of them. And they shall come to me, and they shall divide it into 7 parts. And Judah shall stay within their border on the south, and the house of Joseph shall stay within their borders on the north. You shall therefore map the land into 7 parts, and bring it here to me, so that I may cast lots here for you before the Lord our God. But the Levites have no part among you, for the priesthood of the Lord is their inheritance. And Gad and Reuben and the half-tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance beyond the Jordan on the east, which Moses the servant of the Lord gave them. And the men arose and went away, and Joshua charged those who went to map the land, saying, Go and walk through the land, and map it, and come again to me, so that I may here cast lots for you before the Lord in Shiloh. The men went and passed through the land, and mapped it into 7 parts in a book. And they came to Joshua to the host at Shiloh. And Joshua cast lots for them in Shiloh before the Lord, and Joshua divided the land unto the children of Israel there, according to their divisions. And the lot of the tribe of the children of Benjamin came up according to their families. And the border of their lot came forth between the children of Judah and the children of Joseph. And their border on the north side was from Jordan, and their border went up to the side of Jericho on the north side, and went up through the mountains westward. And the outer limits of it were at the wilderness of Bethaven. And the border went over from there toward Luz, to the side of Luz, which is Bethel, southward, and the border went down to Ataroth Adar, near the hill that lies on the south side of the lower Beth-horon. And the border was drawn from there, and went around the corner of the sea southward, from the hill that is in front of Beth-horon southward. And the outer limits of it were at Kirjath-Baal, which is Kirjath-Jearim, a city of the children of Judah. And this was the west quarter, and the south quarter was from the end of Kirjath-Jearim, and the border went out on the west, and went out to the well of the waters of Nephtoah. And the border came down to the end of the mountain, which is before the valley of the son of Hinnon, which is in the valley of the giants on the north, and went down to the valley of Hinnom, to the side of Jebusi on the south, and went down to Enroigal, and was drawn from the north, and went forth to En-shemesh, and went forth toward Gileoth, which is over against the going up of Adumim, and went down to the stone of Bohan the son of Reuben, and passed along toward the side over against Arabah northward, and went down to Arabah, and the border passed along from there to the side of Beth-hoglah northward, and the outer limits of the border were at the north tongue of the Salt Sea, at the south end of Jordan, and this was the south border, and Jordan was the border of it on the east side. This was the inheritance then of the children of Benjamin by the borders of it round about according to their families. Now the cities of the tribe of the children of Benjamin according to their families were Jericho, and Beth-hoglah, and the valley of Kezes, and Beth-arabah, and Zemarium, and Bethel, and Avim, and Para, and Ophrah, and Shephar Haim Monai, and Ophni, and Geba, 12 cities, together with their villages, Gibeon, and Ramah, and Beeroth, and Mizpah, and Cherphirah, and Mozah, and Rechem, and Irpeel, and Tar-alah, and Zelah, Eleph, Jebusi, which is Jerusalem, Gibeath, and Kirjah, 14 cities with their villages. This was the inheritance of the children of Benjamin according to their families.
Joshua chapter 19. And the second lot came forth to Simeon, even for the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families, and their inheritance was within the inheritance of the children of Judah. And they had in their inheritance Beersheba, or Sheba, and Moladah, and Hazar Shual, and Bala, and Azen, and Eltolad, and Bethul, and Honma, and Ziklag, and Beth Markaboth, and Hazar Susa, and Beth Leboath, and Sharahan, 13 cities and their villages, Ain, Rimmon, and Ether, and Ashan, 4 cities and their villages, and all the villages that were round about these cities, to Belath Beer, Ramoth of the south. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families. Out of the portion of the children of Judah was the inheritance of the children of Simeon. For the part of the children of Judah was too much for them. Therefore the children of Simeon had their inheritance within the inheritance of them. And the third lot came up for the children of Zebulun, according to their families, and the border of their inheritance was unto Sarid. And their border went up toward the sea, and Madalah, and reached to Debeseth, and reached to the river that is before Joknaim, and turned from Sarid eastward toward the sunrising, unto the border of Chisloth Tabor, and then goeth out to Debaroth, and goeth up to Japhia, and from thence passeth on along on the east to Gitta Hefer, to Erta Kazin, and goeth out to Ramon Methor, to Nea. And the border compasseth on the north side to Hanathon, and the outgoings thereof are in the valley of Jephtanel, and Katath, and Nahal, and Shimron, and Idalah, and Bethlehem, 12 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the children of Zebulun, according to their families, in these cities with their villages. And the fourth lot came out to Issachar, for the children of Issachar, according to their families. And their border was toward Jezreel, and Cheshulath, and Shunem, and Hapharim, and Shilon, and Anaharath, and Rabith, and Kishon, and Abez, and Ramoth, and En-Jamin, and En-Hadah, and Beth-Pazez. And the coast reacheth to Dabur, and Shahazimah, and Beth-Shemesh. And the outgoings of their border were at Jordan, 16 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Issachar, according to their families, the cities and their villages. And the fifth lot came out for the tribe of the children of Asher, according to their families. And their border was Helkath, and Hali, and Beten, and Aksarf, and Elimelech, and Amad, and Mishal, and reacheth to Carmel westward, and to Shihor Libnath, and turneth toward the sunrising to Beth-Dagon, and reacheth to Zebulun, and to the valley of Jephiel, toward the north side of Benebsk, and Neiel, and goeth out to Kabul on the left hand, and Hebron, and Rehob, and Haman, and Cana, even unto great Zidon. And then the coast turneth to Ramah, and to the strong city of Tyre, and the coast turneth to Hosa, and the outgoings thereof are at the sea, from the coast to Azib. Also, Aphek, and Rehob, 22 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Asher, according to their families, these cities with their villages. The sixth lot came out to the children of Naphtali, even for the children of Naphtali according to their families. And their coast was from Heluph, from Alan to Zananim, and Adami, Nekeb, and Jabaneel, unto Lakum, and the outgoings thereof were at Jordan. And then the coast turneth westward to Aznath Tador, and goeth out from thence to Hukok, and reacheth to Zebulun on the south side, and reacheth to Asher on the west side, and to Judah upon Jordan toward the sunrising. And the fenced cities are Zedim, Zer, and Hamath, Rakath, and Shimrith, and Admah, and Ramah, and Hazor, and Kadesh, and Edreel, and Enhazor, and Iron, and Magdalel, Horan, and Bethanath, and Beth-Shemeth, 19 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Naphtali, according to their families, the cities and their villages. And the seventh lot came out for the tribe of the children of Dan, according to their families. And the coast of their inheritance was on Zorah, and Eshtaol, and Irshemesh, and Shalabin, and Ajalon, and Jethlah, and Elon, and Thimmathah, and Ekron, and Eltekeh, and Gibbethon, and Baalath, and Jehud, and Benberek, and Gath-Rimmon, and Mejarkon, and Rakkon, with the border before Japho. And the coast of the children of Dan went out too little for them. Therefore the children of Dan went up to fight against Leshan, and took it, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and possessed it, and dwelt therein, and called Leshem Dan, after the name of Dan their father. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Dan, according to their families, these cities with their villages. When they had made an end of the dividing the land for inheritance by their coasts, the children of Israel gave an inheritance to Joshua, the son of Nun, among them. According to the word of the Lord, they gave him the city which he asked, even Timoth-Serah, in Mount Ephraim, and he built the city and dwelt therein. These are the inheritance which Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel divided for an inheritance by lot in Shiloh before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. So they made an end of dividing the country.
We turn over now to chapter 20. Joshua chapter 20. And the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, Choose out cities of refuge for you, of which I spoke unto you by the hand of Moses, so that the slayer who kills any person through error, in ignorance, may flee there. And they shall be your refuge from the avenger of blood. And when he that flees into one of those cities shall stand at the entrance to the gate of the city, and shall declare his cause to the elders of the city, they shall take him unto themselves into the city, and give him a place, so that he may live among them. And if the avenger of blood comes after him, then they shall not deliver the slayer up into his hands, because he struck his neighbor in ignorance, and did not hate him before. And he shall dwell in that city until he stands before the congregation for judgment, until the death of the high priest that shall be in those days. Then shall the slayer return and come to his own city, and to his own house, unto the city from where he fled. And so they chose Kedesh in Galilee, in Mount Naphtali, and Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and Kirjath-Arba, which is in Hebron, in the mountain of Judah. And on the other side of the Jordan by Jericho eastward they chose Bezer in the wilderness upon the plain out of the tribe of Reuben, and Ramoth in Gilead out of the tribe of Gad, and Golan in Bashan out of the tribe of Manasseh. These were the cities chosen for all the children of Israel and for the stranger that lives among them, so that whoever kills a person through error might flee there, and not die by the hand of the avenger of blood, until he could stand before the congregation.
You're listening to the Family Bible Reading Fellowship as we begin reading chapter 21 of Joshua. Joshua chapter 21. Then came near the heads of the fathers of the Levites unto Eleazar the priest, and unto Joshua the son of Nun, and unto the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And they spake unto them at Shiloh in the land of Canaan, saying, The Lord commanded by the hand of Moses to give us cities to dwell in, with the suburbs thereof for our cattle. And the children of Israel gave unto the Levites out of their inheritance at the commandment of the Lord these cities and their suburbs. And the lot came out for the families of the Kohathites, and the children of Aaron the priest, which were of the Levites, had by lot out of the tribe of Judah, and out of the tribe of Simeon, and out of the tribe of Benjamin 13 cities. And the rest of the children of Kohath had by lot out of the families of the tribe of Ephraim, and out of the tribe of Dan, and out of the half-tribe of Manasseh 10 cities. And the children of Gershon had by lot out of the families of the tribe of Issachar, and out of the tribe of Asher, and out of the tribe of Naphtali, and out of the half-tribe of Manasseh in Bashan 13 cities. The children of Merari by their families had out of the tribe of Reuben, and out of the tribe of Gad, and out of the tribe of Zebulun 12 cities. And the children of Israel gave by lot unto the Levites these cities with their suburbs, as the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses. And they gave out of the tribe of the children of Judah, and out of the tribe of the children of Simeon, these cities, which are here mentioned by name, which the children of Aaron, being of the families of the Kohathites, who were the children of Levi, had for theirs was the first lot. And they gave them the city of Arba, the father of Amok, which city is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah, with the suburbs thereof around about it. But the fields of the city and the villages thereof gave they to Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, for his possession. Thus they gave to the children of Aaron the priest Hebron with her suburbs to be a city of refuge for the slayer, and Libnah with her suburbs, and Jattir with her suburbs, and Eshtemoa with her suburbs, and Holon with her suburbs, and Debir with her suburbs, and Ain with her suburbs, and Jettah with her suburbs, and Beth Shemesh with her suburbs, 9 cities out of those 2 tribes. And out of the tribe of Benjamin, Gibeon with her suburbs, Jeba with her suburbs, Anathoth with her suburbs, and Almon with her suburbs, 4 cities. All the cities of the children of Aaron, the priests, were 13 cities with their suburbs, and the families of the children of Kohath, the Levites, which remained of the children of Kohath, even they had the cities of their lot out of the tribe of Ephraim. For they gave them Shechem with her suburbs in the Mount Ephraim, to be a city of refuge for the slayer, and Gezer with her suburbs, and Kibzaim with her suburbs, and Beth-horon with her suburbs, 4 cities. And out of the tribe of Dan, Eltekeh with her suburbs, Gibbethon with her suburbs, Ajalon with her suburbs, Gathemon with her suburbs, 4 cities. And out of the half-tribe of Manasseh, Tanach with her suburbs, and Gathrimmon with her suburbs, 2 cities. All of the cities were 10, with their suburbs for the families of the children of Kohath that remained. And unto the children of Gershon, of the families of the Levites, out of the other half-tribe of Manasseh, they gave Golan in Bashan, with her suburbs, to be a city of refuge for the slayer, and Beshtera with her suburbs, 2 cities. And out of the tribe of Issachar, Kishon with her suburbs, Deborah with her suburbs, Jarmuth with her suburbs, and Ganim with her suburbs, 4 cities. And out of the tribe of Asher, Mishal with her suburbs, Addon with her suburbs, Helkath with her suburbs, and Rehob with her suburbs, 4 cities. And out of the tribe of Naphtali, Kadesh in Galilee, with her suburbs, to be a city of refuge for the slayer, and Hamathdor with her suburbs, and Kartan with her suburbs, 3 cities. All of the cities of the Gershonites, according to their families, were 13 cities with their suburbs. And unto the families of the children of Merari, the rest of the Levites, out of the tribe of Zebulun, Jokneam with her suburbs, and Karta with her suburbs, Dimnah with her suburbs, Nahalal with her suburbs, 4 cities. And out of the tribe of Reuben, Bezar with her suburbs, and Jehazzah with her suburbs, Kedemoth with her suburbs, and Mephaioth with her suburbs, 4 cities. And out of the tribe of Gad, Ramoth in Gilead with her suburbs, to be a city of refuge for the slayer, and Mahanaim with her suburbs, Heshbon with her suburbs, Jazer with her suburbs, 4 cities in all. So all the cities for the children of Merari by their families, which were remaining of the families of the Levites, were by their lot 12 cities. All the cities of the Levites within the possession of the children of Israel were 48 cities with their suburbs. These cities were every one with their suburbs round about them. Thus were all these cities. And the Lord gave unto Israel all the land which he swore to give unto their fathers, and they possessed it, and dwelt therein. And the Lord gave them rest round about, according to all that he sware unto their fathers. And there stood not a man of all their enemies before them. The Lord delivered all their enemies into their hand. There failed not aught of any good thing which the Lord hath spoken unto the house of Israel. All came to pass.
We are reading these days from the book of Joshua. Today we begin reading chapter 22. Joshua chapter 22. Then Joshua called the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh, and said to them, You have done all that Moses the servant of the Lord commanded you, and have obeyed my voice in all that I commanded you. You have not left your brothers these many days unto this day, but have kept the charge of the commandment of the Lord your God. And now the Lord your God has given rest unto your brothers, as he promised them. Therefore now you return and go to your tents unto the land of your possession, which Moses the servant of the Lord gave you on the other side of Jordan. But be careful to do the commandment and the law which Moses the servant of the Lord charged you, to love the Lord your God, and to walk in all his ways, to keep his commandments, and to cleave unto him, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. And so Joshua blessed them and sent them away, and they went to their tents. Now to the half-tribe of Manasseh Moses had given the land in Bashan, but Joshua gave the other half land among their brothers on this side of Jordan westward. And when Joshua sent them away also to their tents, then he blessed them, and he spoke to them, saying, Return with much riches to your tents, and with very much cattle, with silver and with gold and with brass and with iron, and with very much clothing. Divide the spoil of your enemies with your brothers. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh returned, and they departed from the children of Israel out of Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan, to go to the country of Gilead, to the land of their possession, of which they were possessed, according to the word of the Lord by the hand of Moses. And when they came to the borders of Jordan that are in the land of Canaan, the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh built an altar there by Jordan, a great altar to look at. And the children of Israel heard, Behold, the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh have built an altar over against the land of Canaan, in the borders of Jordan, at the passage of the children of Israel. And when the children of Israel heard, the whole congregation of the children of Israel gathered themselves together at Shiloh, to go to war against them. And the children of Israel sent Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest unto the children of Reuben and to the children of Gad and to the half-tribe of Manasseh into the land of Gilead. And with him went 10 princes, a prince from each of the chief houses throughout all the tribes of Israel, and each one was a head of the house of their fathers among the thousands of Israel. And they came to the children of Reuben and to the children of Gad and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, to the land of Gilead, and they spoke with them, saying, Thus saith the whole congregation of the Lord, What trespass is this that you have committed against the God of Israel, to turn away this day from following the Lord, in that you have built an altar for you, so that you might rebel this day against the Lord? Is the iniquity of Peor too little for us, from which we have not been made clean until this day, although there was a plague in the congregation of the Lord? But must you turn away this day from following the Lord? You rebel today against the Lord, and tomorrow he will be angry with the whole congregation of Israel. Notwithstanding, if the land of your possessions is unclean, pass over unto the land of the possession of the Lord, in which the Lord's tabernacle dwells, and take possession among us. But do not rebel against the Lord, nor rebel against us in building an altar for yourselves beside the altar of the Lord our God. Did not Achan the son of Zerah commit a sin in the cursed thing? And did not wrath fall on all the congregation of Israel? And that man did not perish alone in his iniquity. Then the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh answered and said to the heads of the thousands of Israel, The Lord God of gods, the Lord God of gods knows, and Israel shall know if it is in rebellion or in transgression against the Lord. Do not save us this day, that we have built us an altar to turn from following the Lord. Or if we have built an altar to offer on it burnt offering or meal offering, or if to offer peace offerings on it, let the Lord himself require it. And if we have not done it for fear of this thing, saying, in time to come your children might speak to our children, saying, what have you to do with the Lord God of Israel? For the Lord has made Jordan a border between us and you, you children of Reuben and children of Gad. You have no part in the Lord. And so your children shall make our children stop fearing the Lord. And therefore we said, let us now prepare to build us an altar, not for burnt offering, nor for sacrifice, but that it may be a witness between us and you, and our generations after us, so that we might do the service of the Lord before him with our burnt offerings, and with our sacrifices, and with our peace offerings, so that your children may say to our children in time to come, you have no part in the Lord. Therefore we said that when they should say so to us, or to our generations in time to come, that we may say, behold, the pattern of the altar of the Lord, which our fathers made, not for burnt offering nor for sacrifice, but it is a witness between us and you. God forbid that we should rebel against the Lord, and turn this day from following the Lord, to build an altar for burnt offering, for meal offerings, or for sacrifices, besides the altar of the Lord our God that is before his tabernacle. And when Phinehas the priest and the princes of the congregation and the heads of the thousands of Israel who were with him heard the words of the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the children of Manasseh, it pleased them. And Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest said unto the children of Reuben and to the children of Gad and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, this day we see that the Lord is among us, because you have not committed this sin against the Lord. Now you have delivered the children of Israel out of the hand of the Lord. And Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest and the princes returned from the children of Reuben and from the children of Gad out of the land of Gilead to the land of Canaan to the children of Israel, and brought them word again. And the thing pleased the children of Israel, and the children of Israel blessed God, and did not intend to go up against them in battle, to destroy the land in which the children of Reuben and the Gad lived. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad called the altar for it a witness between us that the Lord is God. Chapter 23. Joshua chapter 23. After the Lord had given rest to Israel from all their enemies round about, it came to pass that Joshua became old and far gone in age, and Joshua called for all of Israel, for their elders, and for their heads, and for their judges, and for their officers, and said to them, I am old and far gone in age, and you have seen all that the Lord your God has done to all these nations because of you. For the Lord God is he who has fought for you. Behold, I have divided to you by lot these nations that are left to be an inheritance for your tribes from Jordan, with all the nations that I have cut off, even to the great sea westward. And the Lord your God shall put them out from before you, and drive them out of your sight. And ye shall possess their land, as the Lord your God has promised you to do. Therefore be very courageous to keep and to do all that is written in the book of the law of Moses, so that you do not turn aside from it to the right hand or to the left, so that you do not come amongst these nations, these that remain among you, neither make mention of the name of their gods, nor cause to swear by them, neither serve them, nor bow yourselves unto them, but cleave unto the Lord your God, as you have done unto this day. For the Lord has driven out from before you great and strong nations. But as for you, no man has been able to stand before you unto this day. 1 man of you shall chase 1,000. For the Lord your God is he who fights for you, as he has promised you. Therefore take good heed to yourselves that you love the Lord your God. Otherwise, if you go back in any way and hold to those left of these nations, these that remain among you, and shall marry them and go in to them, and they to you, know for a certainty that the Lord your God will no more drive out these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps to you, and whips in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from off this good land which the Lord your God has given you. And behold, this day I am going the way of all the earth. And you know in all your hearts and all your souls that not one thing has failed of all the good things which the Lord your God spoke concerning you. All have come to pass unto you. Not one thing of it has failed. Therefore it shall come to pass, as all things which the Lord your God promised you have come upon you, so shall the Lord bring upon you all evil things, until he has destroyed you from off this good land which the Lord your God has given you. And when you have broken the covenant of the Lord your God which he commanded you, and have gone and served other gods and bowed yourselves to them, then shall the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and ye shall perish quickly from off the good land which he has given to you. Chapter 24. We're reading from the book of Joshua. We continue reading now chapter 24. And Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shechem, and called for the elders of Israel, and for their heads, and for their judges, and for their officers. And they presented themselves before God, and Joshua said to all the people, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Your fathers lived on the other side of the flood in old times, Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nahor, and they served other gods. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood, and led him throughout all the land of Canaan, and multiplied his seed, and gave him Isaac. And I gave to Isaac Jacob and Esau. And I gave Esau Mount Seir for his own, but Jacob and his children went down to Egypt. I sent Moses and Aaron also, and I plagued Egypt according to that which I did amongst them. And afterward I brought you out. And I brought your fathers out of Egypt, and you came to the sea. And the Egyptians followed after your fathers with chariots and horsemen into the Red Sea. And when they cried to the Lord, he put darkness between you and the Egyptians, and brought the sea upon them and covered them. And your eyes have seen what I have done in Egypt. And you lived in the wilderness a long time. And I brought you into the land of the Amorites, who lived on the other side of Jordan. And they fought with you, and I gave them unto your hand, so that they might possess your land. And I destroyed them before you. Then Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab, arose and warred against Israel, and sent and called Balaam the son of Beor to curse you. But I would not listen to Balaam, therefore he still blessed you. So I delivered you out of his hand. And you went over Jordan and came to Jericho, and the men of Jericho fought against you, the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Girgashites, the Hivites and the Jebusites, and I delivered them into your hand. And I sent the hornet before you, which drove them out from before you, the two kings of the Amorites, not with your sword, nor with your bow. And I have given you a land for which you did not labor, and cities which you did not build, and you live in them. And you now eat of the vineyards and the olive yards which you did not plant. Now therefore fear the Lord, and serve him in sincerity and in truth. And put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. And if it seems evil to you to serve the Lord, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you live. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And the people answered and said, God forbid that we should forsake the Lord to serve other gods. For the Lord our God is he who brought us and our fathers up out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And he did those great wonders in our sight, and kept us in all our way in which we went, and among all the people through whom we passed. And the Lord drove out from before us all the people, even the Amorites who lived in the land. Therefore we will also serve the Lord, for he is our God. And Joshua said to the people, You cannot serve the Lord, for he is a holy God. He is a jealous God. He will not forgive your transgressions nor your sins. If you forsake the Lord and serve strange gods, then he will turn and do you harm and destroy you after he has done you good. And the people said to Joshua, No, but we will serve the Lord. And Joshua said to the people, You are witnesses against yourselves that you have chosen the Lord to serve him. And they said, We are witnesses. Now therefore put away the strange gods which are among you, and incline your hearts to the Lord God of Israel. And the people said to Joshua, We will serve the Lord our God, and his voice we will obey. And so Joshua made a covenant with the people that day, and set them a statute and an ordinance in Shechem. And Joshua wrote these words in the book of the law of God, and took a great stone, and set it up there under an oak, which was by the sanctuary of the Lord. And Joshua said to all the people, Behold, this stone shall be a witness to us, for it has heard all the words of the Lord, which he spoke to us. It shall therefore be a witness to you, lest you deny your God. And so Joshua let the people depart, every man to his inheritance. And after these things Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died, being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance, in Timnath-Serah, which is in Mount Ephraim, on the north side of the hill of Gaash. And Israel served the Lord all the days of Joshua, and all the days of the elders who outlived Joshua, and who had known all the works of the Lord that he had done for Israel. And the bones of Joseph, which the children of Israel brought up out of Egypt, they buried in Shechem, in a piece of ground which Jacob bought from the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem, for 100 pieces of silver. And it became the inheritance of the children of Joseph. And Eleazar the son of Aaron died, and they buried him in a hill belonging to Phinehas his son, which was given him in Mount Ephraim. This concludes the reading of the book of Joshua.